of the program are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or its advertisers. For sponsorship, music promotion, and business ads, call management at 347-699-6892.
Taste test. Taste test. Yes. Hello. Hello. What?
Please, look at that feedback.
Hello. Welcome.
We got feedback.
Yeah.
So the last one, I turned it down.
What we got now?
you to Evenings with Eleanore, coming to you, streaming live from beautiful, gentrified Maplewood, Brooklyn, New York. Anticipating snow. The last day of February. It's a cold month. So cozy up in front of that fire, in front of that computer, with your phone, or while you're in the car, wherever you are. I thank you for spending your evenings with Eleanore. I've been coming to you from BrooklynStation.com and King and Queen Radio for like 7 months now. This is maybe our 24th, 25th show. And it's been my pleasure to spend 2 hours every Wednesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my friends all over the globe. I'd like to send a special shout out to the wonderful folks, I mean, and there are many, many from the Caribbean who touch base, who have lots of suggestions for the show, and many of the suggestions have to do with people's culture, things that they're celebrating, holidays, traditions, birthdays. If you'd like to reach out to me for a special birthday for someone that's near and dear to you, or a special holiday, not only should you send me the name of that holiday, that person's date and name, send me a little background, something special that only you would know, that I could share with everybody else. And reach out to me at eveningswitheleanore@gmail.com. I appreciate your touching base, letting me know what's going on in your neck of the woods, in your area of the world. And of course, I don't have to remind everybody of the elephant in the room, but there are so many elephants in the room this week, if you've been keeping up with the news. The Oscars, I'd like to congratulate all the winners. Mr. Ali, Spike Lee, Regina. Oh my gosh, you know we love you guys. I am so happy for you. And I love your work, believe me. I would like to thank all the people who thought Eleanore, Evenings with Eleanore, should have been on the red carpet. I agree with you. I agree with you. And for someone to even make that suggestion, I'm loving it. I am loving it. I'll pass it along to the front office. You guys are thinking outside the box, and I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. To even think I'd be deserving to be interviewing somebody on the red carpet. And I think I could do a lot better than some of them. I certainly wouldn't ask Jason Momoa to do a haka. There would be something more substantial. You know, it's not fair that there should only be one Jason Momoa, but that's the topic of another show. Let's see, what else did I read this week? Local newspapers, right? There was a segment that they are considering giving Max Roach, I mean, one of the greatest musicians, percussionists that ever, of our time. They're considering naming a street after Max Roach. A street, a boulevard, an expressway should be named in his honor. And I'd like to say, Bed-Stuy, that's a no-brainer. We all love Bed-Stuy. I grew up in Bed-Stuy on Green Avenue. Hey, Green Avenue. It's always good to say every week that it's good to be home in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is home for me and for a lot of other folks. My good friend Elaine Little, we went to school together, and she lived off Mother Gaston Boulevard. At the time it was Stone Avenue. Now she's living in Virginia. She touched base this week to say, I'm coming to New York. I'm going to make sure that I take the time to stop by the station and talk about old times. I don't know how old the time she wants to talk about or how far back I want to go. But Elaine and Sharon Brown and I spent a lot of time together in our childhood on the, let's see, we weren't allowed to go far, but we could go to the Concrete Turtle. We spent a lot of time on the monkey bars. So Elaine Little, I'm looking forward to you stopping by the station and sharing your journey with us, because I know it's been interesting. I've been knowing you for a lifetime. I'd like to share something with you that I read regarding surviving R. Kelly. Now, not to talk about R. Kelly, but his employees. The article I read said something to the effect of, as an employee, you can be liable for your loyalty or whatever your job is during employment. And that's very interesting, because you never think as an employee that you are responsible for the actions of your boss. You're just doing your job. You know, if your boss does something wrong because you work for him or you followed orders or you knew what was going on and you didn't say anything, or you had knowledge of, the article said that was aiding and abetting. And I'm thinking, you know, if you're interviewing for a job, they really check your background. And they want to know who you are to the nth degree. And the rules have changed recently, so your credit rating and other factors factor in on their decision to hire you. But if you can be held responsible for the actions of your employee or your employer, I'm not sure to what extent, or I'm not sure what the law is, but just the idea of that. You know, maybe you should be interviewing your employer like he's in, or she is interviewing you. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. Another article I read, and I do a lot of reading. A lot of millennials, a lot of groups of friends are asking friends to sign non-disclosure agreements. Imagine a friend of yours saying, sign this paper because you can't tell anything that we discussed or where we went or what we did or what we said, or, I mean, is that friendship? If I can't, as a friend, if I can't let my guard down, whatever my guard is, you know, to what extent you are my friend under these circumstances? You are my friend on this level, you know, but you can't cross this boundary. I'm asking you to sign this agreement because I can't trust you. That's confusing to me on so many levels. I mean, I could see if you were CIA or something, but then I would expect you not to disclose yourself. those things you would not otherwise want disclosed. But to have a friend sign an agreement saying you won't discuss anything we discuss ever about anything, is that the new definition of friendship? I don't think I want that kind of friendship. But that's just me. That's just me. So how was your week? Is everything okay and on your side? Is the job okay? How's traffic? Be careful out there because we're going to get an inch or two of snow tonight, as I mentioned earlier. And it's not so easy driving back to Long Island at 11 o'clock at night, trying to beat the clock. I didn't say that. Guess who just walked in?
Hello.
Everybody. Come on in.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for dropping by. Who do we have there?
I'm
Oh,
Adam.
this is my husband.
It's lovely to meet you. How are you, honey? You alright?
Here. Good to see you guys. Grab a chair.
Cheers.
Have a seat. Mic there. There you go. There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, please help me welcome to Evenings with Eleanore, my first, and we're making history tonight, my first female DJ to visit the show, Natasha Kitty Cat.
Be out. No, hello, how are you? You
I'm
good?
good. What about you?
I'm fantastic. It's such an honor to be here.
You look fantastic.
So, can you see okay right now? Are you sure you're feeling okay, Eleanor, here?
I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah, you must be.
I'm
honey.
good.
This here is looking.
So tell me, you're in New York for how long?
I'm in New York. Well, I'm coming back. I'll be back on Saturday at
Okay.
House of Yes,
Okay.
playing for Glitterbox.
Yes.
Cannot wait. Disco extravaganza.
Well, you know we're going to be there. We're going to be in the house.
Oh,
We're going to be
absolutely.
watching.
Front and center. I
Yeah.
hope. I hope Eleanor will be there.
So tell me, well, there's so much to find out. There's so much to ask. First of all, I'd like to start by saying, 10 minutes before I started the show, Alberto Panini sent a message and he said, she's my favorite. I love her. Say hello for me.
It's a small world. Cannonball Records.
Small. You are loved. You are
Well,
loved.
you know what? The soul community, and you find that music connects people. I mean, that's how we met.
Absolutely.
I went to see Norman Connors. You appeared on stage, and
It connects, it heals, it cures, it does everything.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm happy to be a part of it and talking to you. But to back up a little bit, what ignited this fire in you
Well, I was brought up in a soul-obsessed music family, so my mum and dad love soul music. So, from when I was little, that was the music. You know, that's the soundtrack to my life, to my childhood. You know,
You know it.
and it's in my blood now. It's never gone. It's just one of these things. I love it.
So many youngsters think that their parents are dense. Parents, they know nothing. And then when they grow up and they realize that subliminally, subconsciously, they absorbed all that music.
Yeah.
You know, and your parents weren't as lame as you thought.
Oh, you know, it's one thing I've always said is I owe everything to my mum and dad, especially my dad, because my dad, he taught me how to DJ.
Good
He showed me
deal.
the ropes, you know. He opened that doorway for me, so I owe everything to them. They brought me up. He took me to the Norman Connors show. He's taken me to see so many shows that I absolutely loved, you know. So for me, it's like the soundtrack to my life. When I think of soul music, funk, disco, that's the stuff that I really love.
I mean, I can't not agree with you. That's my upbringing. Church is as close to funk as anything, you know, that I can imagine. I want to say hello to my good friends on the gospel side. Curtis, Barry, Martin, thank you so much for singing from the heart. We love them. Were your parents responsible for Natasha Kitty Cat?
Well, I'll tell you something funny. My dad said, get rid of that name is awful. What the hell, it's a gimmick. And I said, well, you know what, I like cats. I think of myself as a cat. Maybe we can make this work. And I stuck with it. I normally listen to it, but I didn't listen to it with that. So I stuck with Natasha Kitty Cat.
You know, when I started to do my research, there was so much positive press that I read.
Really?
And so many events that you have had the pleasure of working. And I said, who the heck am I talking to? Who am I talking to here? But I got to read something to you. And I read this. And a lot of times when artists have a press release or something that's written about them, just the way that it's written sort of warms the cockles of your heart. You know, it lets you know that emotion of that person that's writing it. I mean, whether they're cruel, if it's constructive criticism, it comes across, right? So I'm reading this and it says, utterly enamored of the music she grew up with and is dedicated to preserving its legacy while championing and creating new productions that will stand the test of time just like the classics. Driven by the energy and positivity of disco and the raw passion of soul, Natasha Kitty Cat fuses these emotions together to create truly magical sets and tracks. Natasha will be making her DC debut on Saturday, March 9th as part of a collaborative event between District Inferno and Deep Tech in DC. Now, that's so well written.
That is a massive compliment.
That is.
I'm going to savor that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it on my wall.
I think you should. Because not
Beautiful
only
write-up.
did that person know what they were talking about, they actually felt what you were putting across.
It's a beautiful thing to see someone writing like that as well. Very well written, but you know what lovely words as well. It genuinely means a lot to me because I do love what I do. I do what I love, and to have someone write that way about it, it really that touches my heart and stuff like that. Because that's exactly where I want to come from. You know, everything I do stems from my roots of soul music, modern soul, 70s soul. Everything I do now, even if it's got a contemporary spin, that is where the roots lie within what I do.
That is amazing. I mean, I look at it and when I'm in the clubs and I'll say, boy, that person has skill. Or, boy, that person knows how to keep that floor packed. Or, boy, that person is zoning out. They love what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And this article lets me know that all that is coming across and you are really into your music.
No, I love it.
You know, I mean, how did you make that choice from there's so much music out there? For instance, Richmond Punch is a classical violinist we have on the show. He's going to be calling in. I'm looking at his resume and he has a track with Tyga and Offset. So he's actually doing hip-hop violin, and it's monstrous. Isn't that?
Wow.
I mean, just the creative juices from when I was a kid. Classical violin was classical violin. You didn't walk that path, any other way but straight ahead. But now, are you kidding me? These kids are just soaring. I don't even know how old he is. I'm just saying that Offset and Tyga, those are kids to me. But they are soaring.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
unbelievable.
to be that creative, and I've heard some of his work, it's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But I think your accent is so cute.
Oh, really? I hear it and I cringe. I go, know, it's that Scottish accent again. The Scottish contingency all the way from Brooklyn. We need a translator probably for that, but you know. Scotland.
So now, going to DC.
Yeah, on 9th of March.
I mean, that's a huge, funky market down there.
Oh, I hope so. I think so. I hope so. I'm looking
telling
forward
you,
to it.
Lots of music, great venues, great people, good clubs down there. And I don't mean just club venue. I mean lots of folks that are in clubs. You know, with like the Fox Club, for instance. You know, it's a group of folks, and they have events. And in the LBGT community.
Oh yeah.
So look them up when you're down there. They are funky. They love soul music.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. This will be my first time ever.
It won't be your last though.
I hope not. Oh,
I know
positive words. I like this.
Tell me how long this tour is going to be.
So it's going to be, well, it's going to be a little while, but I think I'm going to be pretty much booked up most of the year. But it's been fabulous.
I feel so bad for you.
Oh, pity me. I forgot what sleep is. What is the sleep of which you speak?
You poor thing.
No, I'm loving it. I'm very grateful. First and foremost, I'm grateful for every opportunity that I get. And I treat every gig as if it's my last. Because, you know,
That's right.
it's one of these things. Always be grateful and always remember.
You know it.
Goes back, remember your roots in every sense of the word. So.
And be thankful.
Oh,
Please,
100%.
be thankful.
Completely thankful.
You know, female DJ on the road. You know, are you expected to do other than, better than your counterparts?
Well, you know what, the way I see it, and the way that I critique myself, I always strive to be better than my last performance.
Okay.
I use what I do as like my point of going, right, that's, when I'm on my top game, I'm like, right, I just try not to compare myself to others, I try and just do my own thing, and hope that in doing my own thing, and through hard work, I can do to the best of my ability. That's the way I see it. I don't really, you know, this is something I get asked a lot in terms of, you know, gender in the music industry, because there's obviously this, you know, if you look at the ratio between men and women that DJ, but you know what, it's something that I've never really taken into account, because I've always been the type of person, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it, and I don't let anything stand in my way. I just do it, and I will deal with whatever comes in my way as it comes.
Awesome. I love it.
That's exactly, that's the way I see it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you cut a heck of a trail out there. A heck of a path, because you're well respected. And when you say keep yourself busy, there's so much that you're involved in.
All the time.
Marketing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that. What's going on?
So that's what I do during the week. So I work in freelance, like digital marketing. That's what I do. That's what my degree's in.
Awesome.
So that allows me to go on the road. My office can be anywhere in the world for anyone tuning in. You know, so it works. It's a good balance between the music and the other lifestyle as well. So it's good.
That's amazing, because I try to show my audience that even though my guests are passionate about their craft, their skill, their love, their jobs, there's always that other side. You know, we have a singer on next week who is a gospel house singer, but she's also an EMS. You know, she works in the ambulance. She wants to be a nurse. You know, we've had a mechanical engineer, May Chung, who works for the New York City transit system, and she's a dancer. So
Yeah, it's that.
I know,
it's the
that
contrast, how it
balance.
works and it balances. That's exactly it. It's the balance it creates.
because there's so many sides to the average individual, you just can't walk that one path. Because I think to be creative in music, you have to have experience to draw from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me some of the places that you just died to work again, that was one of your best experiences.
Well, you know, the whole being a part of Glitterbox and being part of their team, so to speak, that has been transformational. You know, that has been great. Every year I play as well in Croatia at a festival called Sunsebeat that was run by the guys that done Southport Weekender, which was iconic in the UK for bringing soul acts, funk, house, disco, the whole shebang. But you know, it's things like that, being a part of people, like working with people that promote events, you know, that are passionate about the music and they're trying to move it forward and they're always trying to draw people towards, you know, this soul, funk, disco, house music. It's the most beautiful music ever, you know, I love it.
It's awesome. You know, it sets so many standards. You know, we've had Stevie Pennell from Georgia, female DJs for a while now. You know, I've had Jarrell Black here. I've had DJ Stan Johnson. I've had some top DJs here, and it's tough to get the females because they are far and few.
Well, that's it, yeah.
And busy as heck.
Oh, honey, don't.
I'm telling you, they are busy as heck. Donna Edwards, hey Donna. Skating somewhere. But I'm telling you, they are so busy. That's why I'm so thankful that you dropped by.
I'll be honest with you, it's an honour you asked because I absolutely love and admire your work. You're a soul sensation. You know, no, I'm going to say it how it is because Eleanore needs to be told how good she is. So I'm going to tell her how good she is for everybody listening.
Oh, shucks.
I'm going to get you, Eleanore. That's all I'm going to say. And everyone who knows will know what I mean. This is your life. That's all I'm going to say.
To cut it short. Did you bring a USB or something?
I did. I brought in some music. I've got music. Oh, we're going to get a song, Eleanore. I'm going to get it. Come on.
I'm loving it. Holly, can you help us out? Holly's our station manager, and she will lead you to the table or whatever you need.
Thank you, my love. Fab.
You got
take
it.
this chance.
So how do you fit in the scheme of things? Tell me.
So, I'm Natasha's boyfriend, so I live in Liverpool, in the UK.
Yeah.
So we've come over for a bit of a holiday to come to Glitter Box where Natasha's DJing on Saturday. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. My first time in Philly, not my first time in New York, probably.
Awesome.
Yeah, really enjoying it.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
And thanks for bringing her.
Not
Thank
at all.
you so much.
I'm the official headphones today, USB carrier. Absolutely.
That is awesome. A lot of good friends in the UK. My fairy godmother is in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Adie Crampton.
Hey, fairy godmother. You'll have to send her around to my house, look after me while I'm in the UK.
Neil Pounds from Pounds Boy. Hey, how are you guys? I love you. Thanks for your support. Thanks for touching base. Adie, I love you madly. Neil, you know I'm in love with you guys. Thank you so much for sending me the tracks. We do spend them, and I'll try to get to them again tonight. But I'm telling you, there are some awesome folks in the UK that support the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all kind of big fans. So how long have you been doing the show?
Since September 12th, 2018. I'll never forget that day. It's
right, so that's the day before my birthday. My birthday's September 13th.
awesome!
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
September 28th.
Oh, is it? Okay, fellow Virgo? Are you,
Libra.
Libra, oh, right, okay.
This one, same day as mine, the station manager,
okay.
Holly.
Natasha, Leo.
Weird lady too. Lovely but weird. You know those Libras.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know those Libras. So now, Natasha Kitty Cat is at the tables.
I am at the table.
Did you like my little line where I said this beauty is a beast on a table?
I love that. That's
Yes,
another one for the
quotable, isn't it? Yeah.
I loved it.
You strap line.
I loved it. I love promos. It's not my forte, but I love just being creative.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, if I had tools, I'd be dangerous. If I had tools that I knew how to master.
Me and you both.
Natasha Kitty Cat, ladies and gentlemen.
It's only fair that I lay it to you on the line. Gonna get to you no matter what it takes. So be prepared to get the money. You belong to somebody, this I know. Wait, baby, don't stop the show. As fine as you are, I've got to make you mine. This is all right. No time. Other girls ain't oh, yes, you are, baby. I know your folks are proud of you. Yeah, yeah. You're causing me to cry, there's no doubt about it. Ooh, I'm gonna get you, baby. I'm gonna get you, baby. I'm gonna get you, baby. Yeah, hey, I'm gonna get you, baby. I'm gonna hold on, get you, baby. That's lots, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna get you, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna get you, baby. Like a machine gun, I'm gonna
You know it's not easy in trying to deal with a situation they have no control over. Especially when the situation is a lady. A very special lady. You must find some way to kind of deal with it. Listen. Ooh, baby. Girl, if you could just read my mind. You're something special. You're very, very rare. You're a very special lady that can be found just everywhere. Yes. You're something special. Like a brain that grows in the spring. You're the air I breathe. You're the soul I sing. I've made love to you at least 1,000 times. But let's take it.
I'm
a bird that blooms in the spring. You're the air I breathe. You're the song that I sing. Hey, baby, you're something special because of what you are inside. And what you are inside, baby, is all woman.
Really?
Wake up!
the show.
got everything from you guys.
I got mostly.
She never stops working. We don't have
I got
to
that
walk.
one.
Never stops working.
Yeah, give your
There'll
phone.
be other over there though. Well, I'll let her
All
know.
we have yesterday.
And I posted on social media.
Must have been hard to tell me that you give him all you had to give. I can understand your feeling that way. Everybody's got their life to live. Well, I can say goodbye in the cold morning light. But I can't know just lie here and think about the very last time you'll ever touch me in the morning. Then just close the door. Leave me as you found me. Wasn't it yesterday we used to laugh when behind us? Didn't we run away and hope the time wouldn't try to find us? Didn't we take each other to a place where no one's ever been? Yeah, I really need you here tonight, 'cause you'll never take me there. Hold on to it until the time your hands reach out. Always hold me in the Didn't we take each other to a place where no one's ever been? Yeah, I really need you near me tonight, 'cause you'll never take me there again. I really want you to know what's with us out in the night. We've seen how rock and roll goes. Really want you to I got to be strong. No, you know I need to have tonight. Till you're gone, you know my imagination.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you've been listening to is history being made on Evenings with Eleanore tonight, with our first female DJ to visit the show. And she kicked butt. Natasha Cat was spinning for the past, I'd say 25 minutes, and we've been having a ball. If you've been calling in, I'm sorry I missed your call. I apologize, and I won't guarantee that it won't happen again when we're lost in the music. But I'd appreciate Mr. Richmond Punch, if I missed your call. The lines are open. But once again, I know that Natasha Kitty Cat is running late for her appointment tonight, and she stopped by to burn the house down, which she did, and to let us refamiliarize ourselves with a time, with an era, with a mood, with soul music, music for the soul. We thank you for stopping by. And let me tell you, anytime you want to bring it,
I'm going to
please
get you,
do.
Eleanore. I thought you were going to get you again.
Thank you, babe. Thank
Oh,
you
it's
so
good
much.
to see you, honey.
You know,
You take care.
and let me know if he can't make the gig, if for some reason he can't follow
You
the
come as
phone,
well.
let me know. I'll be
Absolutely.
there. Have a safe trip.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful tour. And touch base with us. Let us see us online.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
guys.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Take it easy.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye, guys. Thank you. I hope you heard every note. I hope you heard every word. And you can see the taped version on all the sites. I'm quite sure that if you visit kingandqueenradio.com, brooklynstation.com, you'll find something for you. Conversation, good folks, great location. We're here every night of the week, and we welcome your attendance. You're watching, you're listening to Evenings with Eleanore at brooklynstation.com, kingandqueenradio.com, from Brooklyn, New York. And reach out to us with anything you want to talk about. You want to showcase your act? You want to stop by to tell a joke? To play an instrument? To sing a song or dance a dance? Or just to stop by and let us know that you're thinking about us? Reach out to us. Eveningswitheleanore at gmail.com. Did Richmond Punch call in?
I would have heard the phone.
I would like to once again thank Natasha for dropping by. It's always good to have the girls in the house. Holly's been doing such a great job handling the music since September. Let me tell ya, she is awesome sauce. Alberto Panini, thank you for touching in. It was awesome to hear from you today. And Natasha really appreciated knowing her friends were watching. There were lots of other emails from folks who were checking in. But it's very difficult to sit here and watch my phone. I will post some of them for you, and follow us online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Just Google it and we'll pop up. Once again, I'd like to remind you that she will be, Natasha Kitty Cat will be at House of Yes this weekend. And we're going to be down there. And I'd love to see you down there. So come on by and let's have fun. Again, back to articles that I've been reading all week. There are some new releases out from friends of mine, and next we're going to have Crystal Lavelle returning to the show. Yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. And she'll be bringing her beautiful self with Gospel House. If you'll remember, she wrote and produced her latest track, finally. And she slammed it last time she was here with Katrina Redrick. We had a ball. So we invited her back, and next week, she's coming in full force. And you know she's got a lot to say, so she'll be sitting here the whole show, and we'll just be running our mouths. Did you have any idea that the DNA testing companies are sharing your genetic data. When I read that, I was a little surprised. Not that you've got anything to hide, but I think that would be akin to sharing your medical records. You think so? How much do you want to share? On that note, I'd like to thank James Redrick in Georgia for putting together my family tree, our family tree, the Redrick family tree. And James, being an attorney and triathlete, and let's see, he's my father's brother's son. So he's my cousin somewhere down the line, second removed. So James decided to do our family tree. And he researched all the records. You know, being an attorney, I'm sure he knows research on James. And it's an impressive book. I think I'll bring it in one day and share it one evening and share it with you. It's about a 3x4 publication. And to see the records of my ancestors and their signatures and their pictures. And not only did he include records that I'm assuming would be unattainable to lots of folks, but pictures as far back as he could find. And it was amazing just to see where I came from. And to have it done by a family member, and he was really diligent. I thank you, James. And with every book came a cookie in the shape of a heart with the family name and the date of the first ancestor that he was able to find. But we didn't eat the cookie. It's petrified now. We kept it, James. Thank you so much for your efforts. Legendary designer Karl Lagerfeld passed away last week. And we all know his work, his designs. I've known him all my life. Most of us have one or two pieces. But he was such a great designer. Of course, he was controversial. He had a lot to say, but I'll let that slide. I wanted to mention that his fashions were life-changing because the way the garments were made now, unless you really do diligence and you can afford the garments, it's very difficult to find something well made, something that's not a poly blend. But his designs and his fashion were very, very well made. The materials, the stitching, the design was unlike I'd ever known. The lines were clean and crisp and classic. You know, I loved Versace, but I love Lagerfeld. And I know a lot of you did. Taxes are to be filed by April 15th, I think, or April 16th. And you guys are anticipating that refund. I'm hoping that foods, or to me the big thing would be longer waits for services that you need. Gardening or landscaping or repairs or do unto you. On the positive side.
So we're not getting Mr. Punch calling in?
The lines are working, and the phone is not ringing. That was another phone.
We opened the show tonight with a tune by Norman Connors called Wouldn't You Like to See? And I did that especially for my good friend Roz Nixon.
There you go.
Roz, we know that you love that track, and we love you. And I will be in touch. I just want you to know play that track to prove to you. And we love you madly. I understand right now, ladies and gentlemen, that my guest, Mr. Richmond Punch, is on the line. But before we get to him, I'd like to say a couple of words about him. You can access his information online, and I know that you will be impressed and fall in love with information. It says he plays everything from classical music to jazz, hip-hop, and gospel. And I want you to sample his work this evening. But first I'd like to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Richmond Punch. Good evening, Mr. Punch. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being our guest tonight.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Tell me where. Oh my goodness. How's the weather down there? We're expecting snow.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, we got pretty cold. I think we're creeping up on the 30s.
Oh.
It's up and down. It's always up and down until somewhere near March and April. So we have up to as high as 70 something, and then yeah, down sometimes to like 30 or something.
I could use some of that warm weather. Expecting a couple of inches tonight. Of course, it's a little cold around here, but I sort of like the change of seasons. In reading your biography, your bio, you have such a diverse background. From America's Got Talent to Showtime at the Apollo, and it seems that you've been traveling all over the world. I mean, the Disney Cruise Lines, from Alaska to Vegas to New York.
So it was a Montessori school,
Okay.
and it was a life-changing situation of a great teacher. Her name was Dr. Williams, and she was training kids from very young age. She really took the time, with the kids so that they would be able to learn and, foster the gifts.
Montessori was a beautiful school. It was what was basically a charter school today.
That's right. And ours is, being a public school, it's a really unique situation. They had a wait list program, to get into the school, and but it was good. And really, all we knew was the educational foundation. We didn't know that the music would be there.
It's disheartening what's happening with the music programs in the school today. How do you feel about that?
Yes, it's very true. Actually, I was just a full-time teacher, in fact, actually at a charter school, and so but the situation changed. So they did not cut only music; they cut the whole program. So they cut all the teachers in order to kind of redo the teachers to different salaries. Yeah.
There's a lot of joy in music, but the powers that be really don't see that it encompasses so much of the other subjects. Math is involved, reading is involved, expression is involved, history is involved. It's not just the joy of performing it or learning it. But I think it'll be a while before they, unless you do it or appreciate it, I guess the budget is not there.
That's very true.
As I'm also reading your background, and this floored me. You were the opening act for Idina Menzel from Disney's Frozen. You've worked with Viola Davis, Danny Glover, Draymond Shark Tank, Morris Chestnut, Jewel, Bishop T.D. Jakes speaks so well of you, Ross Perot, Kirk Franklin, and Kirk Whalum, one of my favorites, Nolan Ryan, Emmett Smith. I mean, how did you wind up with Nolan Ryan and Emmett Smith? What was this, a corporate event or a game?
Yeah, that actually was, let's see, Nolan Ryan was Martin Luther King in Dallas. He was retired by then. But he was honored in Black History, he was there as a guest of the African American music on the mind, African American coach, who was at that time Ronald Washington. I know his last name was Washington. Who was our African American coach at that time. So that's why Nolan Ryan was there. That Emmett Smith was, I can't remember actually, because I used to see him all the time at Potter's house, so I don't actually recall the first event where I
having
played for
four
him.
brothers, and a couple of grandsons, I hear his name often, or I've heard his name often, and I was just interested so I could pass it along to my 14-year-old.
Oh, sure.
I'm truly, truly honored to have you on the show. And I would like very much to share your work with my audience right now. If we could start with Mother's Love. That was one of my favorites.
Oh,
and after
awesome.
we hear a little bit about it, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about that.
Okay.
Are we up and running? Thank you. Oh my, that's lovely. That's lovely.
that is gorgeous. And I had to start out with that because that really touched me. Tell me a little bit about that. That's an original composition?
Hey, hello?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. What do you think of it?
I absolutely love it. I had it ringing throughout the house. I said to myself, that definitely represents a mother's love. Tell me about that. Is it an original composition?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The melody I wrote is, you know, a lot of the music I write by ear. I don't write it down on paper and then play it. So that actual particular song, I did the melody in one take, and I wrote the melody came out of one take, basically completely improvised.
Awesome. You know, T.D. Jakes says that you're the baddest violinist around. That is an awesome statement from an awesome gentleman. I mean, that says it all. We have a lot of respect for Bishop Jakes, and after hearing this track, your work is so beautiful. I'm happy, as I said, to have you on the show. I also see that you're producing. You have.
Yes, indeed. And I forgot to say that Mother's Love was written for my mother. So I forgot to say that so in particular when I wrote the song, was playing it, I wanted it to be based on feeling. So that was one of the reasons why it was very important to just kind of play the song.
Well, it sounds like it came from the heart. And I'm telling you, as a mother, I felt it. I really felt it. And you have this vibe that comes across, you know, even when you are playing something that's aggressive. And I've heard, you know, some passages in your work that I deemed aggressive passages, and there was a softness for me. I mean, a lot of violin to me is harsh. Do you get that reaction or that comment often?
What's the word you used? Did you say softness?
Yes.
Well, you say a lot of violin is not soft?
A lot of it to me sounds harsh. Maybe it's what I'm listening to.
Sure, yeah. I do know that's sort of a thing that a lot of people feel like in violin, that they need to attack the music, so to speak.
Right, they do attack it, yes.
Yeah, and first of all, because, you know, we're classically trained, and then a lot of us are, so whether we're playing a wood violin or electric, you know, we're coming from this to be heard, you know, everything is sound oriented, and so to make that pure sound, which is on, you know, in the wood violin, you have to be able to give more to it, and more and more and more. And sometimes some of the violinists, as they calculate the more and more, you know, there's an attack to it. So I try not to do that. I try to.
I noticed that you know, you're playing acoustic and electric. Does it take a different training or a different touch to play the acoustic as opposed to the electric?
Well, I started playing the electric fully, basically, I want to say less than 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I was listening to it and online in videos and things from musicians all over the world. And it was 2 years ago that I heard a sound coming from an electric that I felt like it was capable of sounding like the wood instrument, and capable of of so many other things. And it was that time that well, now I actually play the electric more, and I play a 5-string violin made by Yamaha, and it's truly changed my life. And then, of course, with the electric and the ability to add volume, it's like I don't have to, necessarily push so much.
Are you using the music programs, Pro Tools and such?
I'm haven't been, say, behind the musical technical as far as producing using those. But definitely when I'm recording, it's either those or there's definitely Pro Tools involved, or there's but then there's also sometimes at times Logic.
I love Logic. That's probably my go-to. You said that the electric changed your life. Tell me a little about that.
Sure. It actually was. There's a really amazing conference that occurs. It's called NAMM.
Yes.
And it happens at both, like in Los Angeles, Nashville, those kind of places. Conferences are so big. And at that time I heard it. I had not been to it, but I finally was able to hear it. When I heard that electric violin that I liked, so I heard it, saw a video of it, and I was like, that's impossible. I was like, it can't sound like a real violin. and that was it for me. Then I spent the next, maybe it was a year later that I actually got, but I was.
It's like, how creative can you be with the technology?
Yeah, the technology, and then that was it. And now I'm one of the first violinists to play the violin like a guitar as well. I use Boss pedal systems, which come from Roland Company, Roland Corporation,
I know Roland.
U.S. And that has been something else as well. And through the use of guitar pedal system, I've been able to do a lot.
Well, what track could we hear that on?
Actually, let's see, because it's all in use, especially in the new CD Back That Violin Up. Let's see, we were listening to Mother's Love. Mother's Love would have had mostly violin, as you can hear, and that is all violin.
What about Finally?
So, if you want to hear the was something come to your mind?
I was asking if Finally, if it has that method.
It doesn't have the guitar playing. Finally was recorded pre-electric violin. Actually. So, and that's of course that Finally is a CD, which is a title track. So that was before. Back That Violin Up just came out in this year, and so that has. So I think if you would listen to a song like Taki Taki, it's one. It's Latin. I know, I'm thinking East Coast. I know people love the Afro and Latin beats.
Yes.
In New York. So there's a song that I did called Taki Taki where you can really hear it, because I literally switch between. It's as if I'm switching between instruments.
Interesting. Can we find Taki Taki on YouTube?
It's on. Let's see. It's on my Bandcamp, and you may have it in the original place where I sent you music.
Okay. One of the things
it would be there.
I wanted to ask you while Holly is pulling up the track with Tyga and Offset. Tell me how that came about. It's very interesting, this track.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I always, actually, those are some artists I really wanted to work with. So that's Tyga, and then Offset from Migos. Migos, them in particular, Cardi B, or they call that quality control, as their, if you want to go to their management and publishing, the team. I would love to work with them, and just hearing the music that they do, the energy And then with Tiger, in particular, with Offset on that track, it's just insane. And so I decided to take a kind of jazz approach to it. And then so the result is what you hear. It's a great song called Taste, and yeah, I like it a lot.
Are there many classical hip hop violinists?
I mean, some of my friends are awesome as well. You know, Black Violin.
Okay.
Of course, a lot of people know them. They particularly actually done the classical edge of it and recorded it. I explored that some also in Back That Violin Up in the actual song. I approached that in a very classical manner. But in total, no, not so much.
Well, I appreciate what you did on this track. I really love it, and Holly's going to bring it up for us. But you know, it's taste. To me, it's tasty. I love it. It is tasty.
Oh, thank you very much. Matter of fact, when the CD cover, I have the top hat, and when I first played it live, either after or before recording it, I had that top hat, and I was in a very large live environment for Dîner en Blanc, the white party event that comes from Paris, and it was just, it was so completely tasteful,
It is so dramatic. I want my audience to hear a little bit of it now. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Richmond Punch, ladies and gentlemen. So dramatic. I'm so upset that it's only like 2 seconds. Are you there?
Hello? Yeah.
I'm here.
Oh, did we cut it short?
Yes. That is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I noticed that you've done Despacito, Ribbon in the Sky. We've been listening to quite a bit of the music. I mean, Holly, one of my absolute favorites is the Superman Kryptonite track.
Oh, sure.
I love that track. Tell me who Christian Lace and Tamia Coleman Lockhart. This was a great collaboration.
Sure. I'd love to tell you about that whole entire track. Superman comes from, and it actually is very, very New York. It's very appropriate with the Brooklyn. First of all, my son lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, awesome!
And it's part of the story. It's part of behind that.
Okay.
He teaches teaches Spanish and does film in the sense that he actually has a YouTube show, and he's doing film and acting and screenwriting in New York.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
you should be a proud parent.
Yes, indeed. And so what happened is our goal on this particular New York trip was to have a costume party. One day I was just at home and my wife just brings me a gift, and she's like, "We're having a costume party in New York, and you're gonna wear this." Ta-da! And she pulled us out a Superman suit. Right? Yeah, she busts out a Superman suit. I think I want to say maybe we weren't married yet.
Okay.
We were dating. Okay, this is important. Okay, so we go to the costume party. She, of course, you know, has to have her woman and strength and diva costume, so she chooses Wonder Woman.
Good for her.
And so we're,
yes.
yeah, and so we're in New York, and I'm in New York with the costume party, and then there was sort of this instant level of comfort between both of us with the costume. So I kept the costume on after the party. I ended up going to Times Square, and while driving, I'm waving at NYPD, and they're all like, "Hey, Superman, hey, go Superman, I'm Wonder Woman, yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, I go NYPD." And then I'm in Times Square, I bust out my violin, and next thing you know, I'm Superman street performer, Super Strings.
Oh, that must have been an evening to remember.
And Super Strings was born.
Super Strings. So this is the Superman Kryptonite track?
Yeah, so we later on got, after deciding we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together, we got married with the Superman and Wonder Woman costume on.
Oh, that's fantastic.
In Las Vegas.
That's fantastic. Great story. That's
Yeah,
a great
and
story.
so Superman features Christian Lake, a rapper from Houston,
Okay.
actually also our best friend's son, and then Sophia Coleman Lockhart is a great singer, lives in both Dallas and Florida.
Well, we're going to listen to a little bit of it right now.
That was awesome.
Richmond Punch, Superman Kryptonite.
Cautionary tale on a news clip, useless, no future. They try to put my dreams inside a nooses, but like Superman, my destiny is higher than any trouble water that I am in. Cause God pulled the strings like violin. I have been down in the dirt, was lying in. Gotta get back up, brush it off, then try again. Flying inside of my purpose. With these melodies, I inspire like choirs and churches. While we divided like curtains, we gotta come together. Under any weather, I am so fly, call me Black Clark Kent. Sergeant in command of my own mind. I line in the skies, my name was designed to shine. Even when the thunder is coming, me and my Wonder Woman treated like the sun in the summer. God bless the ones who try and get it right. Don't let that kryptonite dim your light. I am Superman with this gift of right.
Awesome. That should be a movie thing. In looking at your press, it is extremely impressive. Michael Baisden, of course, we all love Michael Baisden. You know, he enjoys your music. Danny Glover says he listens to I Got a Feeling all day long. I also love that tune. I Got a Feeling is amazing. Do you do cover tunes, or are your compositions all original? I noticed that you have an album that you just produced.
Yeah, so the most recent Back That Violin Up is literally featuring covers, you know, with the exception of some, there's a lot of the melody. I did add melodies, for instance, in Back That Violin Up with the classical elements added, and then in Mother's Love with the improvised melody. But those are, the whole album is covers. Even the background of Mother's Love actually comes from Chance the Rapper.
Awesome! That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that you're outside the box and you are creative and experimenting. We're going to ask you to let the audience know where they can download the album, where they can reach out to you, where they can touch base, and where you're going to be appearing soon.
Oh, sure. The album you can find the album at richmondpunch.net, which of course is also a great way to reach me.
Okay.
My social handle, which is Violin Richmond, one word, VIOLINRICHMOND.
Okay.
That's for all the, Twitter, Instagram, those things. The music is under the store under richmondpunch.net. It's also on bandcamp.com. The newest CD is Back That Violin Up. It is right now currently on its way to Apple and iTunes and Spotify and Tidal and all of those places. Then all my previous music before that, the vinyl CD and gospel covers, they're online already in those other places on the internet. Upcoming, I have the South by Southwest Festival, where I will be for 10 days in Austin, Texas. I do have a lot of free shows for that. That's followed by a trip to Indiana for my mother's 80th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom!
Yes, indeed, and she's in South Bend, Indiana, and so I'll be the playing opportunities will come for that, and then other future dates include Chicago, Houston, places like that. I visit regularly, and we're always thinking ahead. Already anticipating next year's Super Bowl in Miami. Going to Cuba in the first week of June this year.
That is a wonderful tour. You know that we're going to be following you. I also see that you are a dedicated volunteer. Do you think volunteering is important? I happen to think so, and since you're doing it, you must think that it's important. But people don't seem to be volunteering much anymore.
Yes, that's true. And by the way, I wanted to add one last thing, which is that a great way to reach the tour and my music is to type in Back That Violin Up as a hashtag.
Okay.
Through that, and of course on my website you can find it.
I just wanted to let the audience know that your name is Richmond, Richmond.
Yes, and that's my birth name, and my last name is Punch.
Okay. As far as volunteering,
that's my birth.
What kind of volunteering do you do?
Oh, sure. On the volunteer side, one of the greatest is that I have so much fun with, and it comes from my childhood. I was a part of it, which was Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Oh, you and Denzel. Good for you.
Yes, and then my mom was a single parent, and then now they're also probably my largest, in terms of the volunteerism and in entertainment, one of my largest clients in nonprofit. I played for them all over the U.S. Matter of fact, even while in Atlanta for Super Bowl, I played for our Big Brothers as well. Other volunteering, I just often, I have something coming up for benefiting heart disease. I'm always looking to help out. I just gave wardrobe recently to a homeless shelter. So I always try to help where I can.
I mean, you hear your music in the background, and I will always be a fan. I really love your track record. I love your music. I love that you're so creative. You are outside that box. You are gone. I want to remind my audience that they can reach out to you and listen to your music on SoundCloud, Instagram.
Yes, that's very true.
Reverb Nation, Facebook, Twitter, and to listen to your music and to know that you were at the vigil for the slain officers in Dallas. That you give back of your time as well as your music.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
One last question, and that is, working with Disney, is that a more commercial gig, or do you get to show all sides of your music?
Can you repeat that one last time? Sorry.
I said, hello. Working
Yes,
the Disney cruise lines, do you get a chance to do all sides of your music, or do you play to a younger crowd? What do you actually do on the cruise lines?
Oh, sure. Yeah, good question. And especially with Disney, everyone would think I had to only to learn, tons of Disney songs, and that would be the extent of that job. And that's not true. I was actually entertaining 90% of the time the adults.
Awesome.
In an adult-like manner, with music choices, but also, and of course, international, Disney's clients, of course, all over the world. I entertained one of their nicest bars with that has also the wine demonstrations. Entertained they have like one of the only ships, from what I still understand is probably true, with a Michelin star on the ship.
Awesome.
So I played for the restaurant Remy. They have a restaurant called Remy and Palo that were on the ship I was playing. This particular ship I was playing on, and it's great. As a matter of fact, that actually features components of the Ratatouille movie, which are brought to life, which actually were true components.
Fantastic.
True real life components that were inserted into the movie. So.
With your work with the national conferences for senators, and your work with the U.S. Congress, the Jewish communities, the houses of worship, Kenny G and Diane Ross, your background is so versatile. And I find that, the work that you're doing with Tyga, and you're just stretching. And I got a feeling that you're going to set some new standards and a new precedence for classical violin.
Oh, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Are you multitasking?
Yeah, a little bit. I had 2 sets of events just in this evening. You know.
See, that's why we wanted you on the show. Because we know you're a busy man.
Well, yes, indeed, but I made sure that basically, you know, that I could get to you after 2 events. So.
But I thank you so much for taking the time to stop by to visit us.
Oh, sure. I did want to hear one more time what what you were saying. I didn't want to miss.
You know, I was saying that I think you're setting some new standards and some new precedences with your experimenting with hip-hop music and rap music. I think this is new, and I think it's going to garner a new audience for you. We have a young audience here at the program, and I try to give them a cross-section of what's going on out there in the music world. Some of them are into house and hip-hop, and I wanted to show them that classical music can fuse with hip-hop and with jazz, and that its roots are diverse. And I think you're going to show that, and I think you're going to bring a very young audience to classical music. Broaden a lot of horizons, and I thank you for that.
Okay. Actually, one of the things I have the most fun with is I actually, you know, a lot of people will play concerts and whatnot. I actually have people actually play my violin. It'd be in the middle of a, you know, paid event or whatnot, but it's part of the entertainment while I'm going around. I also have someone, you know, play the violin for the first time. In live, you know, so I'm plugged in and everything, and I'll come by the table and I'll say, here, you're plugged.
Well, thank you again for stopping by Richmond Punch. We love your work, and I invite you to join us. Let us know what's going on the road with you. Stop by, let us hear your new release. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that you have been watching Evenings with Eleanore, BrooklynStation.com, KingandQueenRadio.com. We're here every Wednesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We thank you for dropping by. God bless you. We'll see you next week. EWE.